votes. That's with more than half, 56% of the estimated vote, but still a lot of vote to come in the Commonwealth of Virginia. In New Hampshire, Harris with 53.4% of the vote. Donald Trump with 45.9% of the vote. Harris with an 18,000 plus vote lead. That's with under a third of the vote counted in New Hampshire. 30% of the estimated vote counted in New Hampshire. In Ohio, Donald Trump in the lead, 54.3% of the vote. Harris with 44.8% of the vote. Donald Trump with a 332,000 plus vote lead. That's with almost 60%, 58% of the estimated vote counted in the Buckeye state. Now let's go to John King at the Magic Wall. John.
So, Jake, you lay out the results, and there are some surprises there, right, at least where we are right now. So we just want to go back and follow up where we were. David Chelling was talking about some of the outstanding vote. We know in Virginia is early vote, and that percentage is going to jump, and we know that the vice president is doing quite well in that vote. So I just want to show you what he means by how this can change. Again, Donald Trump's lead has been shrinking. It was 16,000 not that long ago. It's 12,395 now. Look at the Northern Virginia suburbs here. I just want to show you these circles help us understand where are there live outstanding votes, meaning votes that we know are out there that have not been counted yet. Right? You see the big circles, the biggest circles around the Northern Virginia suburbs, also Richmond and the suburbs around that, and some big Republican circles down here, Virginia Beach area, and some here in the suburbs more to the south, the exurbs south of Richmond. But I want to focus up here, and just to show you why you can say early on, you say, whoa, what's happening here? But then things can change pretty quickly when large population centers report their votes. So let's take Fairfax County. It's the largest of the suburban counties. It's the #1 county population-wise in Virginia. The vice president's getting 66% of the vote, 63% of the vote in. Look at the number where she is, though, 250,000. We know turnout is robust, right? So we should be somewhere around 2020 when we end 2024. Maybe a little higher, maybe a little lower, but somewhere around it. 250,000 votes right now. If you go back in time, you see 419,000 votes. So if she's winning 60+%, the president was winning 70% 4 years ago. You have Vice President Harris winning 66, a little below. Virginia looks like it's going to be a little bit more competitive this year. But you can see just right there in that one county, there's a lot of votes still out, and she's winning disproportionately in the math right now. That can change, but it generally tracks when you get above 60% of the vote. And so just in that one county right there, the math, when those votes come in, the math can change. So doesn't mean it will. But there's more than enough Democratic votes still outstanding, or votes outstanding in Democratic areas is the better way to put it, for that to happen. So let's check in on the other battlegrounds as we go through. This one, again, go back in time. This was the closest Donald Trump victory in a battleground state. Of the battlegrounds he won, 74,000 votes, 483, 74,483. 4 years ago, he's 110 ahead right now, but we're only at 54% of the vote, right? So you see these gray areas. What are those? That's where you have no votes in yet. So we're still waiting. Some of these smaller counties. This one, this is the 10th of the 100 counties population-wise, so it's not tiny. Gaston County along the border right there. But the big population centers are Charlotte. Let's just see how much we have. Only 10% of the vote in Mecklenburg County. So if you're looking at this number, you're saying, okay, Donald Trump's got a 4-point lead. There's 3.5, 4-point lead in North Carolina. But then you come here, it's the largest Democratic area, only 10% of the vote. And again, look where we are, 36,000 votes for the vice president right now. You go back 4 years, 378,000 votes. So we just need to slow down with where we go in here in North Carolina and count more votes, because there are more than enough votes out there. Again, if you come out statewide and just apply the entire graph to the whole thing, live outstanding votes, you see some Republican pockets here, but where are the biggest circles? Right, where are the biggest circles? Charlotte in the suburbs, Raleigh-Durham in the suburbs, Winston-Salem in the suburbs, Wilmington in the suburbs, Asheville in the suburbs. Doesn't mean the vice president's going to win North Carolina. By no means means the vice president's going to win North Carolina. It just means there are a lot more votes to be counted in areas that right now are blue, and some of them blue by a pretty lopsided margin. Now, just to be fair, you see all these little tiny dots? There's a lot of little tiny red dots, right? Right? They're not going to match the vote count here and here, but there's a lot more of them, right? So when you come out and you just take a look, again, I'm a broken record sometimes, but this is the wonder of Donald Trump. This is how he runs up the math. 72% there, only 25% reporting there, but 72% in Rutherford County, right down here along the border here. Let's just go back in time and take a peek. 72%. Donald Trump is consistent. He is the constant in this race. In most places you look, he's getting what he got in 2020. He's getting what he got in 2016. He's pretty constant and pretty consistent. But 24,000 votes there with 72% 4 years ago. And so then you come forward there, we're only at 25%. So again, if it comes in around the turnout of 4 years ago and it stays at that percentage, there's a chunk of votes there and in many of these other small rural counties still for Donald Trump, which is why we count late into the night and sometime into the morning. He gets small margins, but you add them all up, 20, 15, 20, 30 rural counties, You match them up against the one urban county, that's how you get a battleground state. Let's pop down to Georgia. We come down over here. This one here, again, in the state.
to West Palm Beach, where we find
They were looking at that very closely, comparing it to President Biden's numbers there, and it is making them feel good tonight, lifting their spirits. Now, no one is saying that this is obviously anywhere near over yet. They are still watching very closely to the border wall of Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania. Donald Trump calling into radio shows in Wisconsin and Pennsylvania in just the last few hours. As he's at his Mar-a-Lago club, he just spoke to supporters briefly. Jay, as he's talking to people around Mar-a-Lago, he's also getting constant updates from his own campaign team. Right now, they're watching a few key indicators, including the turnout in black males in Georgia and other states, but also just watching those numbers in Virginia. We'll see, Jay, of course, if that pattern continues throughout the night.
All right, Thomas, thanks so much. John, I think a fascinating map at the moment. We're separating the left and right now. We're looking at a map down the left, and that's where it's happening. Wow, that's very nice. We talked a moment about this week. Why do I say wow? Well, the moment that this might be earlier, Vice President is still leading statewide in Nebraska. She wants to win as a second election right here. Nebraska, one of the states that are really electoral college votes based on congressional district. Only 30% of the state. You see all this trade. There's a small rural farm country. Beautiful, beautiful parts of Nebraska. They tend to vote for Donald Trump, but really well known. So let's wait and see that one play out. But then you move east, and remember, what's the surprise poll in the last week of the campaign? It was the Iowa poll. It showed the Vice President of the United States actually no clear leader, but 47 to 43, I think we have the right a little bit ahead of Donald Trump. But what has been since Barack Obama got the seat, right up the state. But at the moment, Democrats in Iowa, this is Statewide, saying there's only 7. But we have a long way to go in the count. Right? So poll counting for going 83% of the vote. This is almost the downside of that. You're getting 56% of the vote, but you're at 82% already. So you've got some more coming in, but this is your biggest Democratic stronghold. Definitely more. Definitely more than 10 years. Very consistent. You might remember a lot of professionals and shows that you feel like Democratic stronghold there. Joe Biden got 56% more than 4 years ago. So if you take a lot like that, just be careful and be cautious. We are waiting. Ames, college town, right up here, Shorter County. Ames, good enough right now. That's a place where President Biden got 57% of the vote. When we get numbers here, we'll look at that. But let's see that. The Democrats are going to surprise us. If I maybe you'll see some math in the county. Enthusiasm average in a competitive environment. So we'll see what happens with Iowa. Again, there's been a red state for quite some time. And just to put the exclamation on it's early. The state of Missouri, that's the Vice President of the United States ahead right now. Very much early for a very long time. Okay, let's go with surprise. Now let's come in the Battleground where we're going. Wisconsin is really very last time. Still very, very low. 18% of the vote coming. This is critical. The Vice President has, if, this is on if, you can win Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, hold that rest of the congressional district I just showed you, they win the President of the United States. Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin. Well, let's move on to Wisconsin so we get very good. He's ahead right now at only 18% of the vote. Again, John's broken record tonight. I want you to look up all the gray areas. And I just want to remind you, in most of them, not all of them, but in most of them, you're in rural Trump. So as you come back to the 2024 map and you say the Vice President's ahead, that's where you want to be. You want to be ahead. You've got a long way to go. So what are we looking for? I'm going to do this in reverse order. Because of the questions about the Electoral turning out, whether what happens to the White House over this new government with the Hamas policy would impact the turnout. 38% of Dane County, that's the University of Wisconsin. Absolutely essential for any Democrat in Wisconsin. Run it up here. Not just in the percentage, but with the raw math. Let's look. 38% of votes. It's a long way to go. Long way to go. Let's just compare President Biden to 76%. Keep an eye on it. Don't panic yet if you're a Democrat. Keep an eye on that because the Vice President needs to be as close to that as she can be. And at the moment, he's running a little bit behind. That's that. This is the biggest population center. Spent a lot of time here. The big question here is
miraculous turnout. And the subset question of that is, we felt comfortable, especially among black men. We did see some evidence of that in our second trip out to Milwaukee. At the moment, I was texting with somebody in Milwaukee Road, by the way, and said that turnout was actually going pretty good for the Democrats. Let's see what that turns out. At the moment, 25% voted, 66% if you round up, 32% for Donald Trump. So let's just go back in time and only have a long way to go. And Milwaukee sometimes goes right. If you go back in time, Joe Biden again, 69%, Trump at 29%. So the 69% is what jumps out. Trump is a little above. Right now, Trump's a little above where he was 4 years ago. He's a little behind where the president was 4 years ago. It's only 25% above. Without putting cement on it. That's what we say. We have to keep an eye on that as we go forward. Then you move over here to the Rock County, Waukesha, This is a Republican suburb. All has been a Republican suburb. The challenge for Democrats, I've been saying this about Trump. In the battleground states that tend to be blue, where's Trump's number in the suburbs? It's like a little bit. Our history here in the mid-wall. Harris is leading right now. That's Texas. We got a lot of local count right here. So I'm laughing right now. 20,000. If you look at that right there, Joe Biden won this state in 2020 by 20,000 votes. 4 years before that, when the crack blue wall became president, Donald Trump won Wisconsin by 22,000 votes. That alone to Wisconsin. It's a state that tends to hang around the margin of 20,000 votes. That's why that's somewhere in the community. Earlier that show was put up 39,000 and shut me up. Then we go over to the count. That in Wisconsin, very early there. Let's go over Battleground, Michigan. Let me come back to that. See that? If they stay that way, and it's early. It's early. Don't play your game. Don't make any bets. Don't pop the champagne. You see Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, right? Especially if you're looking at the map of North Carolina and Georgia or red. They're not going to need you. They're not going to need you. But if you're a Democrat, you're kind of should be nervous about this, then you should be optimistic about that. So let's take it away and see what I mean by that. I don't want those to start to reach and go west. Up to 32% Pennsylvania, long way to go. Long way to go. Just want to check out where we are. Philadelphia, still at 26%. You get Philadelphia over 50%, and we can start to understand what the map is elsewhere as you go. Again, you see most of the world areas going to Trump. That's his strength. That is his strength because they are one of the states. Let's come up here in Michigan. We're still only at 14% in Michigan. And we have our first vote out of the county. We're at 1%. So that's not likely to happen. The question is, where is it going to go? This one's more interesting. Macomb County, again, 500 votes. 506 votes. Trump wants to. Philadelphia, still at 26%. You get Philadelphia over 50%, then we can start to understand what the math is elsewhere as you go. But again, you see most of the rural areas filling in for Trump. That's his strength. That is his strength, and Pennsylvania is one of his best states. Let's come up here into Michigan. We're still only at 14% in Michigan, and we have our first votes out of Wayne County, and it shows Donald Trump with the lead in Wayne County. If Wayne County's red at the end of the night, Donald Trump's winning the presidency in a landslide. We're at 1%. So that's unlikely to happen. The question is, where does it end up? This one's more interesting. Macomb County, but again, 500 votes. 506 votes. Trump wants to keep it somewhere around there. Go back in time. You see he's at 53%. If Donald Trump can win Macomb County, it keeps him competitive. Keeps him competitive in the state. The higher above 50 he gets, it matters. This is one of the signature key counties for Vice President Harris and her Michigan chances. Oakland County, the birthplace of Mitt Romney, used to be a Republican county when I started doing this. She's at 55% right now. They're just past half the vote. So look at the 55%. A little behind Joe Biden. That can matter. That can matter. We're not done yet. She's only 55%. A little bit behind. Biden had 434,000 votes when he won the county. And you're just checking on turnout. She's at 234,000 with about 54%. So you're in the ballpark of similar turnout. Let's see what happens as that comes in. And you're going to watch that number, but that number. Tiny changes in the margins can affect the battleground states. So Trump's at 43. Let's do it that way. Trump was at 42. Again, it's tiny, In the close states, tiny can matter. We'll keep an eye on that as we go through the count in Michigan. And then one more, I was already over there earlier. Let's come back out and see. So the blue wall at the moment is blue, and the Sun Belt states, which used to be reliably red and are now battleground states at the moment, are red. So we'll just check in, see if anything else came in. Georgia's at 79%. The president's lead is 204,000. It was 240,000 a little while ago. President's lead has come down a little bit. I just want to remind everybody, in this hour, 4 years ago, Donald Trump was leading Georgia by about 244,000 votes. Joe Biden won Georgia when the votes were all counted. Doesn't mean that's what's going to happen this time. It just means you'd rather be ahead than behind, but we're not done yet. Let's come back up to North Carolina. We're at 63% in North Carolina. This count's coming up now. This count's coming up a little bit. You're at 177,000 vote lead. That would be a blowout. Anything in triple digits in North Carolina. Again, you go back 4 years ago, the closest of the battleground states Trump carried, 74,000 votes then. You see how close it was, 50 to 49. And so let's come back now and take a look. The blue then is where the blue is now, except for this one out here. I believe this one, Haywood County, well, we're only at 4%. If you go back in time, that was a Republican county. I look out there because, and if anyone's out there watching, we hope you're doing all right. This is an area of the state that was hit hardest by Hurricane Helene, and the state and the county officials and the local officials, God bless them. They did amazing things just so people could vote. I know the more important things are, can you live, can you get housing, can you get food, can you get water, and things like that. But the fact that people are voting out there in good numbers is a testament to the state and to the county officials. And people have heard a lot of misinformation out there. We see what's happening. Democracy is unfolding in western North Carolina. This is where it matters most if you are the Democrats. And only 14% of the vote is in. So you see Donald Trump leading in North Carolina, but you see only 14% of the vote in Mecklenburg County, which tells you, let's just take this for a while. Let's just go through and see what happens as we go. It's 11% of the statewide population. The vice president's at 60% right now. So you go back in time. Again, this is, if you're the vice president's camp, he lost. Joe Biden lost North Carolina, getting 67% of the vote in Mecklenburg County. She, at the moment, is getting 60% of the vote. Is that meaningful? We don't know yet. We don't know yet. It would be meaningful if we end up there, but it's only 14% of the vote right now. So then you come back out here, and again, that would be Donald Trump doing better in the suburbs. If he gets her number down from Joe Biden, that would mean Donald Trump is doing better with black voters and in the suburbs. But we'll watch that. We still have a long time to go. Wake County is Raleigh, number 2. Mecklenburg, number 1 population-wise. Wake County is number 2. She's at 64% right there. Trump's at 35. You go back in time, Trump's at 36. She's at 62. Roughly the same. Roughly the same. Won't make a big deal about that now. Sometimes roughly, you start looking into the margins of roughly if we get to 80, 90% of the vote. Move over here to Durham, your 6th largest county now, right? So Raleigh, Durham, the Research Triangle, young voters, some black voters, some college-educated suburban voters in the healthcare industry and the other industries in the Research Triangle there. 81% of the vote right now with 85% in. So this is where you can make a comparison. You're at 85% of the vote. You can say, okay, where are we? Where was Joe Biden? 80%. So she's matching Joe Biden here in a key place. Trump's at 18% in 2020. We see him at 18% now, a little bit below that. So this, if you're the vice president, you're matching the president. The question is that good enough, right? He lost the state by 74,000 votes. So we come back up. Where else do you want to look? You look for the other Democratic pockets, right? Cumberland County. This is Fayetteville. We're just starting, right? We're just starting. This is the 5th largest county in the state. So that's, if you're the vice president, you think there's some room for growth there because we're not there yet. And again, I just want to show you, you see the blue in the urban areas. North Carolina along here, that's the belt here. These are black voters here for the most part in these Democratic counties. Absolutely essential to the vice president's math. And then you come down to Georgia. Again, in these states, you just see all that red. Not a lot of people live in those, but if you do county after county after county after county, you run it up. And Jake, as I toss back to you, just one more check. No, Fulton County's still at 80%. So the Georgia math, we still have the biggest population center where we're waiting to see some key results.
All right, John, as we stand by for the next poll closings at the top of the hour, here's an update on the race to 270. Donald Trump has 154 electoral votes. Kamala Harris has 81 electoral votes. Obviously, 270 electoral votes are needed to win. Now, another key race alert. Let's go to the states where we have not called. Kamala Harris in the lead in Pennsylvania, 51.4% of the vote. Donald Trump has 47.7% of the vote. Kamala Harris has 88,000 plus votes of a lead, but it's about 35% of the vote that's been counted in Pennsylvania. But for the vote, Donald Trump.
early vote that is counted before Election Day. And it's not all of them, but it is the majority of the early vote that is counted before Election Day. That is what we are going to know in just minutes. We are watching to see what is happening. And the sense that we are getting, Jake, from all of the election officials we've spoken to here in Maricopa County is that they are overwhelmingly pleased that there hasn't been major problems here in this county. Things have gone relatively smoothly. Yes, there have been some small issues here and there, but overwhelmingly, they say this has gone fairly well, and they are really looking forward to, continuing to keep that going as they go throughout the night. After that first report, Jake, we are expecting to hear further reports as that in-person vote from today starts to come in, Jake.
All right, Ken La in Phoenix, Arizona, big battleground out west. David Chalian has exit polling from Nevada. David, what are you learning about Nevada voters and the issues that they're focused on?
Well, the democracy and the economy are battling for that top spot. 33% of Nevada voters in this election, Jake, say democracy is the most important issue to their vote. 32%, basically the same, say the economy is most important. Then that is followed by immigration at 15%, abortion at 11%, and foreign policy down in single digits. Your family's financial situation, is it better or worse than 4 years ago? A plurality, nearly half of Nevada voters say, 48% say it was worse than 4 years ago. It's worse today than it was 4 years ago. Only 22% say it's better than 4 years ago. 29% say it's about the same. Undocumented immigrants in the U.S. should be offered a chance at legal status or should be deported. 54%, a majority in Nevada, side with the Harris position on this, offer a chance at legal status. 42% in Nevada side with the Trump position that they should be deported. Abortion, should it be mostly legal or illegal? 68% of Nevada voters, nearly 7 to 10, say abortion should be mostly legal. 28% say it should be illegal. And Biden's job approval rating is at 40% in Nevada, 59% disapprove. That is about where it is nationally.
All right, David, thanks so much. Let's go to John King at the Magic Wall.
Well, Jake, we're starting to watch now as we go further west. We have more states coming in. Some of the states we talked about earlier that we thought were aberrations or early votes you see right here now, including Kansas. Kansas has gone back to being a Republican state. We expect it will finish out that way. There are some Democratic pockets of support here. They're mostly in the eastern part of the state, Manhattan, Kansas. Well, remember, it was Kansas that sounded the first alarm after Dobbs, where the amendment passed out there protecting abortion rights. So we'll watch the result margin. We expect Kansas will be a red state at the end of the night, but we'll keep an eye on that to see about that. And then you keep coming forward. Here's the one that's interesting, and it's staying interesting, but we're only at 31% of the vote. Iowa, which again has not been a state we paid much attention to since Barack Obama left the scene. Donald Trump won it comfortably twice. The Harris lead is shrinking a little bit, but she's still ahead in Iowa, 51% to 48%. And if you look through, I said earlier we were at 83% in Polk County. We're still there. That's the bulk of your Democratic votes. And you start moving down. You come over here to Cedar Rapids, which is Lynn County. You're only at 34% of the vote here. So there's some business to be done in terms of Democratic votes for the vice president in what is an interesting state. If this one is competitive, it would be a surprise. And election night surprises are always interesting. You see there Dubuque County there. We'll see how that one plays out as we go forward. So now let's come over to some of the bigger battlegrounds. Again, if you're in the Harris campaign, especially because we're not done by any means. But if North Carolina and Georgia, Trump's ahead there, then you'd rather be the candidate ahead in the blue wall states. And at the moment, the vice president is. 34%, a little more than a third of the vote counted in Wisconsin. Again, you see Trump filling in the rural areas. Just want to check, I teed this up earlier. Brown County, Green Bay, blue-collar workers. Kamala Harris is not going to win Brown County. The question is, can she compete? When Joe Biden won the state, you see she's at 33%. We're only at 12%.
You can f with me if you wanted to. These expensive, these is red bottoms, these is bloody shoes. Hit the school, I can get them both. I don't wanna choose, and I'm quick cutting off, so don't get comfortable.
plus vote lead. That is with 2/3, 66% of the estimated vote in North Carolina county. In Battleground, Georgia, Donald Trump maintaining his lead with 29% of the vote. Kamala Harris, 47.1% of the vote. Donald Trump with a 280,000 plus vote lead. That's with 79% of the estimated vote in from the Battleground state of Georgia. We're now getting an update on the vote in North Carolina. Let's go to John King actually right now. John King, what can you tell us?
Jake, you see the map, again, later tonight, this is where you start to see things change, especially if the candidate goes out ahead of a state that not normally is in their lane, if you will. And by that, I mean, for Iowa, which is one of the dogs showing Iowa with the vice president ahead. Still competitive, you see Iowa is now red. There was that late Iowa poll that showed the possibility that the vice president maybe being a little bit ahead of Donald Trump. No clear leader, it was a competitive poll. And this is a competitive race at the moment, 36%. This would be a surprise, right? So Virginia's a surprise about close it is. We'll see if it ends close, but it's a surprise at the moment. This is a surprise as well. Donald Trump is 3,800 votes ahead in Battleground, Iowa, a state he carried quite comfortably by 9 points, 8 points 4 years ago. So you keep an eye on it, you watch, and you see what happens there. But it's interesting on tonight. Now let's move over to the Battleground at the moment. The blue ball states still being held by the vice president. The Sun Belt states, as we start to move west, North Carolina and Georgia, the two battlegrounds we care most about, they are at the moment held by the former president of the United States. Again, this is his closest battleground win in terms of Biden was the closest to him back in 2020 with 74,000 votes, just under 200,000 votes right now, 66% reporting. The former president at 52% of the vote, and then Jake, as you quote, majority of just remind our viewers, still votes to be counted. We know that, but then we want to use our technology to say, where are they? Where are they? You see the bigger the circle means the more live outstanding votes, and the color tells you what's happening there. And at the moment, it's able to continue to be that way. You see that for County, that Charlotte suburb, it's still over here in the Raleigh-Durham area, Winston-Salem area, a little bit out of Asheville. So more votes to be counted out there, but Donald Trump at the moment is putting up the lead.
You know, we have one of our excellent journalists is in Charlotte, is in Mecklenburg County, Brianna Taylor, that's the Board of Elections in Charlotte. Brianna, what can you tell us?
Yeah, that's right. So at this point, Jake, about 100,000 ballots are in out of several hundreds of thousands of ballots. And that really could change any moment because we are expecting about 420 to 430,000 votes, which would have been early in-person votes to have been closed out and posted here to the State Board of Elections. So we could be seeing that literally any moment. But what we see right now is a picture of a fraction of this key county. It's about 34,000 absentee ballots that were received before 5 p.m. yesterday. And it's also an upload of about 70,000 election day ballots from today. And you see right behind me, you see that red satchel right there. That is really the key here. These are being delivered by car, almost in sort of what is a drive-through situation here outside of the building of the Board of Elections here in the county. And these are delivered, these flash drives, they go inside through a very strenuous process, ultimately are uploaded to a computer that has never ever touched the internet, and then that is compiled and ultimately posted to the State Board of Elections.
All right, Brianna Taylor in Charlotte. Let's get more on North Carolina from Pamela Reynolds of Rhode Island. What can you tell us?
Yeah, just getting off the phone with an official in North Carolina there. This official says, well, first and foremost, it's going to take some more time to get results from across North Carolina's 100 counties. He said this is going to be close. It's going to take some time. There are counties that haven't reported yet that are red. There are counties that haven't reported yet that are blue. So let's dive a little bit more to the numbers we have. Wake County, this is the most populous county in North Carolina. It's right here. I am told so far more than 510,000 votes have been reported. That's according to the state's dashboard. So for context on that, there's 830,000 registered voters, so that's the most likely to be a lower number in the end. So they're actually making some headway there. But over here in Mecklenburg, the home is Charlotte, they're having a logjam uploading the numbers to their site actually so far, and things are moving quickly, so this could change. But just a second ago, before I came on air, there were more than 84,000 votes reported so far, and for perspective, there's 857,354 registered voters in Mecklenburg. So that's a very small fraction at last check that would seem bear out the results there. And again, because there having issues uploading on their site, which is not happening. Again, that state official there in the Target state telling me that it's going to take some time.
All right, Michael, thanks so much. John King, North Carolina, a lot of people thought that we would know pretty quickly this election season who won, but I'm not sure that we're going to know before midnight.
It was defined pretty quickly, right? So compared to 2020, it could be pretty quickly. We're 10 o'clock hour. You're right. So see, these states thought they learned all lessons from 2020. We were mailing votes this time around. But it got to be faster. But even things happen. You see the officials all out there watching this. We have made it very quickly. It's so sad that we have to make it. But these voting machines are not connected to the exact. Right? All these conspiracy theories that people hack the voting machines. The people who counter vote, whether they're Democrats or Republicans, agnostic, they do a good job in all the states. North Carolina is one of the best. So where are we? Is the question. 213,000 vote lead with what Pam just laid out, and Reed just laid out. Reed is here, John is here, Battleground County. 10% of the population, the largest of the 100 counties in North Carolina. So we have a long way to go, right? So can the Democrat come back is the question, right? You see that healthy Donald Trump news. So the question is, can the Democrat come back? Well, the vice president's at 65,000 votes there. A little bit of change, okay? Mecklenburg County, the winner of Mecklenburg County is going to be more than 300,000, close to 400,000 votes. So we have a very long way to go in Mecklenburg County.
The point you're making here is that Joe Biden
last time, they had about 200,000 votes, exactly the way we did that. And we see right now, it's just the way the whole lot. And so she's at 61%, and he was at 67%. If it ends up that way, Donald Trump's going to win North Carolina. But there's that giant number of votes left out. So there's this vice president is saying, remember the president's 67. Does she get closer to 67, number one? And then number two, what's the law matter in the law? Right? If Donald Trump, if she's below the vice president, that means Donald Trump, again, being a little bit better, might only be a little bit, make me eat do something. Maybe it's just like control. We'll see how that plays out. That's the biggest county. Pam noted Lake County is your number two. And again, here we're higher. We're at 76%. So she's at 64%. Remember, Joe Biden lost in North Carolina. Only by 75,000 votes, but he lost. So we're trying to figure out how to match that up. When you come back here, again, not a lot. You see the turnout might be up a little bit. So maybe the winner of the county gets a little bit more than that. And you see in the 393, and more importantly, at 62% of the vote, and then you come here. But she's a little behind the president in Battleground County, which is the largest. So you know we're behind where the West Coast are. He's a little bit ahead of the president in Wayne County. And we're weighing that out. That's one of the challenges, right? We compare her by, because that's the last election. Every candidate has their own voters. And so she's doing a little worse than him with some voters, and she's making up somewhere else. Well, it's Donald Trump. Imagine his numbers. They do that. You can look at it this way if you want. Let's just come out and bring this in here. Where is Harris performing Biden in this state? Right? So this will slide away in just a second. He's only overperforming Biden in the state in a very small number of counties. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? So is that not something you don't know? Flip the question. How about Trump? Trump was performing Trump in 2020. A lot more places. At the moment. He, for that, is in the ruler. Electoral county, which you just noted. That's where the most votes are in the state. The biggest of the 100 counties, population-wise, vote count-wise, right there. So Donald Trump's overperformed his 2020 performance at the moment. Remember how many votes he's got? At the moment, he's overperforming. And he's overperforming here in the favor. Donald Trump overperforms in the urban areas where you have an African-American population, and then it goes to the suburbs, then Donald Trump's in better shape now than he was then. I just want to remind people as we close this out, though, that I said he's overperforming here at the moment. We only have 18% of the vote. Let's see if it holds up. And I say he's overperforming here at the moment. We only have 21% of the vote. So let's see if it holds up.
Again, all the caveats you just said, that this is early, we don't know. But if that were to hold, an explanation of it can become being what we heard from both campaigns is that Donald Trump is doing a little bit better with African Americans, especially African American men, than he did last time. And then Kamala Harris is overperforming with white suburban women, which is happening in Vermont.
So that's what we're trying to do. This is why I said 15 months traveling, right? Where is she? Where's the addition? Where do you perform better? And for Donald Trump, since he's the constant from 2016 to 2020, for Donald Trump, his votes, he had two goals. Number one, keep your base. In 2020, Donald Trump got more votes than in 2015. Almost everything. Right? His base is big. Where he suffered was in the suburbs. It was an entire Democrat. So for Donald Trump, yes, you want to pick up many black votes and Latino votes if you can, and you want to move standing in the suburbs. Donald Trump and the Republicans are bringing their hair out the rest of the campaign every day watching Donald Trump on his cell phone. Every day. Nancy Pelosi one day, was the Vice President of the United States every day, was women very large some of those days. The Republican strategists are bringing their hair out because they know if Donald Trump concludes his standing in the suburbs, literally by half a point, then he's the next president of the United States. And they're ripping their hair. But as you watch through this, if you go through it, we'll see how it's performed out. It's going to be checking with 213,000 votes. We're still here. So mathematically, we do it this way. The big question is, are there enough votes out there for the candidate to protect out? A lot of votes. The answer is yes. There are enough votes out there for the candidate who's losing the vice president to protect out. It doesn't mean you vote. It doesn't mean you vote. It just comes down to if we get more votes in those places where I said Trump is overperforming, because if he continues to overperform, especially in Electoral County, that's good math. We have ways to go to the county. That's just North Carolina. Let's go down. The biggest surprise. That was very tough. Every election cycle, I say, why can't we get North Carolina? But this was the big surprise for the flip. Again, let me just do this for a second real quick. Let's go back up. Sorry about that. Remember that. 204,000. Let's go back to 2020. Right? Let's go back to 2020. Yeah, I just want to show you where we were. Let's go back to the beginning. This is 9 o'clock on the left. Okay. 244,000. So we're at 10 o'clock. Right? So Donald Trump had like 244,000 votes in 2020. The next day, midnight is returned. 2 hours later, he was at 372,000 votes on Tuesday, Thursday, Wednesday in 2020. Right? And then at the end of the next day, it was down to 101,000 votes. It was counted on the ballots, and then it's like the vice president, the Friday, on Friday, and then on Saturday, the election was called. It was at 200, and in the end, they were going to count 211,779. But Donald Trump has the same lead now, that he had in 2020. That does not mean Kamala Harris is majority. It just means that you can't. It just means that you can't. It means that there's still math out there to do it, and we went through this before. 2024 will not be identical to 2020. States will count most votes faster. It's unlikely we're going to wait until Saturday. I say that at some point. As we go through, but we're all so there. Right. The question is, Donald Trump 204,000 votes ahead. We're helping lead, right? Especially the state 75 from last time. So you look at that number and you say, oh, wow, Republicans, Donald Trump's going to win Georgia. Hang on. 81%. 20% of the vote will not be identical to 2020. States will count most votes faster. It's unlikely we're going to wait till Saturday. I say that with some hope as we go through.
But look at all the blue.
Yeah, right.
All those big bubbles.
The question is, with Donald Trump 204,000 votes ahead, it's a healthy lead, right? Especially in a state settled by 11,000 last time. So you look at that number and you say, oh, wow, Republicans, Donald Trump's going to win Georgia. Hang on. 81%. 20% of the vote is a lot of the vote, especially when what you're looking for, the votes that are outstanding, larger the circle if you're just joining us, the more live outstanding votes, the color of the circle, the way the votes inside those circles are coming in. So Jake, you can look at this and you could say, you'd rather be Donald Trump, you'd be ahead, but there's plenty of opportunity for the vice president to make up that ground in Battleground, Georgia, Jake.
All right, John, and we have some projections for you now. CNN can project that Kamala Harris will win the state of Colorado. Colorado, as expected, will go Democratic with its 10 electoral votes. CNN can also project that Donald Trump will be the winner of Mississippi. As expected, Mississippi and its 6 electoral votes go to the Republican. Let's bring in the electoral map right now. Donald Trump in the lead, 178 electoral votes. Kamala Harris has 91 electoral votes, 270 electoral votes, as always, needed to win. Let's take a look at the outstanding races right now. Arizona joins the map of key race alerts. Kamala Harris has 50% of the vote. Donald Trump has 49.2% of the vote. That is a 15,478 vote lead for Kamala Harris, with 49% of the estimated vote counted. Kamala Harris in Wisconsin, 49.9% of the vote. Donald Trump bringing up the rear, 48.5% of the vote. Kamala Harris with a 19,910 vote lead. That's with 43% of the estimated vote counted in Wisconsin. Pennsylvania, Donald Trump in the lead there now, 50.3% of the vote in Pennsylvania. Kamala Harris has 48.7% of the vote. Donald Trump with a 58,648 lead right now, with an estimated 51% of the vote in Pennsylvania. In Georgia, Donald Trump in the lead there, 51.8% of the vote. Kamala Harris, 47.2% of the vote. Donald Trump with a 204,640 vote lead. That's with 81% of the estimated vote in Georgia in. In Battleground, Michigan, Kamala Harris in the lead, 51.1% of the vote. Donald Trump with 47% of the vote. Kamala Harris with a 43,307 vote lead. That's with an estimated 19% of the vote in Battleground, Michigan. In Battleground, North Carolina, Donald Trump in the lead, 52.4% of the vote. Kamala Harris with 46.4% of the vote. Donald Trump with 253,752 more votes as of right now than Kamala Harris. That's with 72% of the estimated vote in. In New Mexico, Kamala Harris in the lead, 50.7% of the vote. Donald Trump with 47.6% of the vote. That means Harris has an 8,592 vote lead over Trump. That's with less than a third, 31% of the estimated vote in from New Mexico, still early in New Mexico. Kamala Harris takes the lead again in Virginia with 49.1% of the vote. Donald Trump with 49% of the vote. Kamala Harris with a 1,118 vote lead. That's with 68% of the estimated votes in from Virginia. John, what do you want to talk about?
We have a changing map. We can talk about it all. We'll walk through it. Let's just take a quick look at it and what happened there. Right, so last time I was here in Fairfax, there's what happened. Last time I was in Fairfax, there was a much lower number. Now you get a big, this is the largest county in Virginia.
Final counting from Milwaukee until tomorrow.
AP vote cast. President Trump winning 23% black vote.
That's stacked. It's a pretty 20-minute drive cities this time of night.
Nationwide,
That's one of the things that happened there. You see the
AP vote cast.
And that's
Alexander's getting small, much smaller
defeat
population.
for the
That's all.
mainstream media, who's just destroyed Donald Trump as a racist for all these years. And if you double the support with black people, and then you go up double digits with your support with Hispanics at the same time, and then run up the numbers with Jewish Americans here in the Northeast, that's a complete rejection of everything that they've been telling us about Donald Trump, and would explain why he's very competitive in the popular
And
vote.
the news cycle for how long went on and on about the Seltzer poll in Iowa. Trump, it looks like he's going to win Iowa by 8 to 10 percentage points. Well, Seltzer. I don't remember what that was called, but it was like he was going to lose Iowa. I mean, it made no sense.
Let's go back to Pennsylvania really quick. I know you're in Wisconsin, but can you just go to Pennsylvania?
I sure can.
And this is
I'm going to come back to this. It's a fascinating story that's happening in Wisconsin, okay? So go ahead, Brett, with your question in Pennsylvania.
Lackawanna County. This is
Lackawanna County. You got it. Let me come back to current day, right? It's 2024, isn't it, guys?
Yeah,
I do believe, okay? So, I'm kidding. So this is Lackawanna. This is Scranton. Okay, so she's got an edge. Go ahead. She's got an edge of 51%.
The 2020 vote for that.
Okay, I'm going to do something here, and you're going to see a slide come out. All right, so you guys got to remember these numbers, all right? Versus 2020. Here is Biden's number. So she's about, you do the math, 2.5 points below what Biden did, but she's winning the county too, and that's Scranton. Can I just show you guys something that I think we need to pay attention to? This is Wisconsin. All right, so you get your Fox Insights going here, okay? We talked about Dane, we talked about Milwaukee. What about Green Bay? That's Brown County, all right? Right now, with 46% of the vote reported, in Brown County, which is Green Bay, Trump's up 3.6 points at this time of the night, okay? Take this off. We'll move down here to Outagamie. All right, he's up 1.8 points higher than he was 4 years ago. Take that off. This is Winnebago, right? Trump is up 1.3 points at this point in the vote higher than he was 4 years ago. And, you know, when you're analyzing the state going this election, those are three of the counties you're looking at where he's trying to, like, drive the numbers up. And he's able to do that. And so this is where we sit. You know, half a point. And not for nothing, guys, but, sorry, come on back here. Not for nothing. But Robert Kennedy has racked up 8,000 votes in Wisconsin. And 2020 in Wisconsin, we'll get it here. Yeah, I got you. 20,682. Maybe it matters, guys, or maybe it doesn't, but it's just something to point out right now. When we come back, I'll take you to Michigan. Some things happening there as well. Fascinating, too.
That's something to keep an eye on.
The 31,000 votes you talked about, Laura, you think they're going to count in the morning, and that's in Milwaukee, right?
They're reprocessing them. They've begun to reprocess them, but there's no indication as to when that's going to finish.
Because they had problems with the machine.
There was a problem with this on-off switching device on the machine or something. It's hard to understand what it
Can I ask
actually.
you a question? You just gave me the latest numbers. I've been looking at the betting odd numbers that Brett was talking about. They have moved massively
90%
now to Donald Trump. New York Times has it massively to Donald Trump.
71%.
Well, point that Jesse, the media, right?
Yeah.
So we're really sitting here, and I think we got to take pause. There is a very strong possibility he will be elected the 47th president of the United States if these numbers, if these predictions end up being true. I don't want to get over our skis. We want to be careful. We want to be prudent. We're all looking at our sources. I'm listening very closely to everything Harold has to say and what he's offering. But if that is true, after all that they have thrown at this man, after all that they have done to this man, and with all the media that wouldn't even vet her and her radical positions, the only person in the media that challenged her in any reasonably tough way is sitting right here at this table, and that was you, Brett. And to think she never had to answer why she doesn't think we should say radical Islamic terrorism, why she wasn't asked about supporting a bail fund, 574 riots in the summer of 2024, or co-sponsoring the Green New Deal, or saying no private health insurance, Medicare for all, or sex change operations for, illegal immigrants. What will this say, Brett, about legacy media in America? It's dead.
Well, the decline of its influence has been evident for years. This is proof of it. And in some respects, I think that the behavior of the legacy media backfired against the candidate they were supporting because it was so over the top. Same with the prosecutions. The same thing happened.
You think it all contributed to?
No, I do.
Yeah, I agree with you.
What do you got, Bill?
Got something?
I just punch it up through Iowa. Everybody was talking about the poll, right? Des Moines Register, I mean, another chip, right?
A poll that will not be named.
Right. That's correct. Until we get a little of the backsheesh, right? 40%, you got a 7-point lead for Trump. Okay, so I don't know what they were seeing in the poll. I mean, they were obviously seeing something out there in Iowa, but this is Trump pulling away. This is
let me as you bounce around.
Yeah, all good. This is Ohio, guys. Okay, 8 points in 2016, 8 points in 2020. 80% of the estimated vote is in. He's up more than 12 points in the Buckeye State.
Dana, even if we're not there yet. We're not calling these states. We're going to wait and see how this raw vote total goes. But you'd rather be him. The path is getting clearer for him right now. To Sean's point, even that he's here at this moment, from January 7th, 2021 until now, is probably the biggest political phoenix from the ashes that we have ever seen in the history of politics.
In the days after January 6th, I remember sitting, I think, with you, Brett, and I said, this guy, Trump, he's radioactive. Republicans have turned against him. They want rid of him. They want him. He's an obstacle. He's a problem. And I thought, no, I didn't think a political comeback by him was possible.
I would say...
And yet here we are. He's the toughest son of a gun I've ever seen. Ever. I mean, all he's had thrown at him, I'd be in an insane asylum.
I think there's an interesting rhetorical trick you can always play with these things. When Sean says, think of all the things that they have done to him, and in spite of that, he puts together this probably the most racially diverse political coalition we've seen in generations. But you could also say it is because of what they did to him. And turn that around. It's not just in spite of it. Like, yes, he's a tough guy. He's
That's a great point.
energetic, but it could be because of that.
Well, and also, I think we shouldn't underestimate the importance of policy in all of this.
Absolutely.
The Trump agenda in 2019 delivered some of the most stunning economic gains to blue-collar workers, the people that we came from, that we had seen in 25 years, or maybe even longer. So from the border to the economy to foreign policy and peace, that resonated with young people, with men, with this new demographic coalition. And I think it's not just the greatest political comeback of all time. If these trends continue, a big if, but if, It will be the greatest comeback, I believe, in history, because this man was counted out and called every name in the book. They want to put him in jail tonight. If they could, they would put him in jail.
And I hate to get ahead of ourselves, but if he does win and the numbers hold up, and the popular vote is what it is, he would have a mandate. He would have a diverse, winning coalition that he would then be able to govern with.
The House, he got both the House and the Senate.
He would probably have the Senate, maybe he doesn't have the House, but that mandate would have to be respected. So it would be up to Democrats and the media to determine how's their posture going to be towards a seemingly very popular president who's had the greatest upset victory, followed by the most controversial election, followed by the greatest comeback victory we've ever seen.
We shall see.
Yes, we may have this conversation several hours from now.
But listen, the primes. I call you the primes now. 7, 8, and 9.
The Avengers.
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
You guys, great coverage.
Have fun. Fantastic to be together. Thank you so much, guys.
That was great.
It was great.
The vote count is underway. More results coming in. We're tracking it all as Fox News Democracy 24 marches on.
Losing votes in one key county, losing percentages in one key county, you better make them up somewhere else and track below. Now, Michigan is the one state. Come back to
generations can enter the workforce, knowing that not only will you have a chance to achieve the American dream, but that your children will also be able to achieve their dreams as well. And I've often said, and I say it again, the number one issue as I travel across the state is economic opportunity. And it is my great desire that each of our families, that all of us, will not live on the margins, but it is my desire that you will live beyond your wildest dreams. That is what I will work for. In a place that you have no doubt that you can dream and be whatever you want in this country. And so to Alex, to all of our children, to all of our parents, I say to you that this is the America that I will continue to work for, to make it work for each one of you so that you can experience the American dream, that we together can reinforce the values that we share as Americans, the democracy that we believe in, that we believe in freedom and human rights, that we believe our leaders should have integrity and be decent people, such as our people continue to fight for. And as I said, you're listening to your Senator-elect for Maryland, Angela Austin.
Can see the stars all away from here. Can't you see the glow on the window pane? I can feel the sun never appear. Every time you touch me, I just melt away. Everybody asks me why I'm smiling from ear to ear.
with an estimated 65% of the vote. Still about a third of the vote left to count in New Mexico. And Boris Sanchez has a new projection for us in the fight for control of the U.S. Senate. Boris?
Yeah, Jake, a handful of important projections to bring you, beginning with history being made in the state of Maryland. There, the executive of Prince George's County, Democrat Angela Alsobrooks, will defeat former two-term Republican Governor Larry Hogan. She becomes the first African-American person ever elected to the Senate from the state of Maryland. Another projection to bring you, this one from the state of Delaware. Congresswoman Lisa Blunt Rochester defeats Eric Hansen, a former Walmart executive, a Democrat here becoming the first woman and the first African-American person ever elected to the Senate from Delaware. A projection to bring you in the Northeast, this time in New York. There, incumbent Democratic Senator Kirsten Gillibrand, former presidential candidate, she will win her third full term in office as she defeats former NYPD detective Mike Sapercone. Let's get you some updates on the Republican side, beginning with the Lone Star State of Texas. Going into the night, Democrats had optimism about potentially flipping this seat from red to blue instead. Republican incumbent Ted Cruz wins re-election, cruising to his third term against Democrat Colin Allred, a congressman from the Dallas area, a former Tennessee Titans middle linebacker. Cruz here winning by a substantial margin in the Lone Star State. An update now from Mississippi. There, incumbent Republican Roger Wicker wins his third full term, defeating civil rights attorney Ty Pickens. Re-election for Wicker in Mississippi. An update now from one of the reddest states in the country, Wyoming. There, incumbent Republican Senator John Barrasso wins his fourth term as he defeats Scott Morrow, a union official who touts his black belt in Taekwondo on his campaign website. Barrasso re-elected in Wyoming. Some more projections to bring you, beginning in Missouri. There, incumbent Republican Senator Josh Hawley, perhaps best known for being the first senator to object to certifying the 2020 election results in favor of Joe Biden, he defeats Democrat Lucas Kuntz to win re-election in Missouri. Meantime, in Nebraska, the special election, Pete Ricketts, a former governor there, he defeats Preston Love Jr., a former campaign manager for Jesse Jackson's presidential campaign in 1984. This is to serve out the term left by retired Republican Senator Ben Sasse. An update from North Dakota now. There, incumbent Republican Senator Kevin Cramer wins his second term, defeating engineering professor Katrina Christensen. Cramer re-elected in North Dakota. So what do all these results mean for the magic number that Republicans need to take control of the U.S. Senate? Remember, they started out the night needing 2 Democratic seats to flip the chamber. Right now, that number with a pickup in West Virginia is 1. And currently, as of this moment, Republicans are leading in 4 races where Democrats hold seats. But hold on, because that needs some context. 2 of these states are fairly early. One of them is Montana, and that race is expected to be competitive, but the other one is Minnesota, in which we're not really expecting that close of a race tonight. And there's also potentially a twist. I'll explain that in just a moment as we take a look at some key race alerts. These are live results coming into CNN right now. In Pennsylvania, this race has been back and forth all night. Look at what separates the former CEO of a hedge fund, Dave McCormick, from incumbent Democratic Senator Bob Casey. 0.1 percentage points, 44,000 vote lead for McCormick, with 61% of the vote in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Meantime, the most expensive Senate race in the country, in history. Nearly $500 million spent on this race, and currently, Colombian-born businessman Bernie Moreno leads incumbent Democrat Sherrod Brown with 261,000 votes, 84% of the vote in Ohio, where now Donald Trump has won the Buckeye State 3 times in a row. And this is the twist I was talking about before. No one expected this Senate race in Nebraska would be this close. We have Dan Osborne, an independent, who has not said which party he would caucus with. In fact, saying that he would caucus with neither party. Right now, he holds a 10,000, almost 11,000 vote lead over incumbent Republican Deb Fischer, 48% of the vote in there. If he wins, it could change the math a little bit for what Republicans need to take control of the Senate. Let's step back and give you a look at the balance of power. The raw numbers: Democrats hold 35 seats, Republicans 48, again with that 1 pickup of West Virginia, but there are 17 seats still up for grabs. You need 51 for control of the chamber.
The Nebraska race is fascinating. The presidential race is moving west right now, and we are counting down to 11 p.m. Eastern. That's when a total of 78 electoral votes are on the line. Most of them are in California. Polling places are about to close there, and also in Idaho and Oregon and Washington State. Kamala Harris is counting on Blue California to push her closer to the 270 electoral votes needed to win the White House. Let's go back to Abby Phillip at Harris campaign headquarters. Abby, you and Jeff have been talking to people inside the Harris campaign. What are they telling you?
Yeah, Jake, let me just give you a gut check here about what we are hearing here as we've been sitting here reporting from the Harris headquarters. And I think the operative word right now is silence. There's not a lot being said because the Harris team appears to be searching for bright spots in the map as these results very, very slowly come in.
Searching for bright spots and also
lot of movement. Some of it we've talked about on our air, but the big numbers there, Latino voters, that is something that they really worked at this cycle. They believe that in 2016, Donald Trump won the election on the back of working class voters. They believe he could win the election this time around on the back of Latino voters, particularly Latino men. Now, one thing to watch, Arizona and Nevada. What do those numbers look like? He specifically, in Nevada, reached out to Latino voters. They were trying to launch their coalition for Hispanic voters in Nevada. They believe that this could actually carry him in that state, which obviously he did not win in 2020. He didn't win it in 2016, but they do believe that if he wins it in this cycle, it is because of Latino voters.
Yeah, they feel very good about him improving his standing with those voters from where he was, not only 2016, but 2020, Kristen Holmes. And Jake, I should note, a sign is you're always just kind of looking for moments and to read the tea leaves, see what they mean. We're told that party goers who were at Mar-a-Lago, where Donald Trump still is right now, are now filtering in here to the party at the convention center. Of course, it remains to be seen if and when Donald Trump himself shows up here, Jake.
All right, Caitlin and Kristen, thanks so much. Let's go to John King at the Magic Wall. John, what can you tell us about Georgia right now?
Well, let's look at Battleground, Georgia. First, let's just look at the entire map and look at it out. There's a lot of red on that map. A lot of red on that map, and that tells you right now, with a lot of votes to be counted, this map looks a lot more like 2016 than it does like 2020. And you know at home what happened in those two elections. But we're not done with the count, so let's look in Georgia. Right now, the former president leading in Georgia by 136,000 votes and change at 51% to 48%, 89% in. So when you get this close to the finish line, you're saying, what's left, and is it enough? Is it enough to overcome 136,000 votes? So let's start with that, and let's look at where our live outstanding votes are. The bigger the circle, the more votes still to be counted. The color of the circle, how the votes coming in that area right now. So you do see a lot of big circles in Atlanta and the suburbs, down here in Savannah and the suburban areas around that, Columbus, Georgia down here. You see some pockets of Democratic votes that are still out. They're large pockets. That's a lot of votes. And if they come in big numbers, we'll see how significantly the vice president narrows that gap. You also see a lot of these little blue dots, they're not done in the rural counties in Georgia, and that matters too. Because yes, if you get a big basket of votes, in Cobb County is at 95% though, so you're not going to get a ton there. Fulton County's at 90%. It's the largest population center, so 10% can be a lot of votes because of the population center. This is the one we're waiting the most on, Gwinnett County, but they're up to 72% now. And then we'll come down here and look at DeKalb County. They're at 89% now. So we have more votes to come from in this circle of Atlanta and the suburbs around it that are blue, but we also have more votes to come from in some of these counties out here. That one's at 94, that one's at 95, that one's at 98, that one's at 92. So you know, you got a lot of the vote in these places. So Donald Trump still has some votes to pick up in the rural areas. The question is, how big are the vice president's advantages in the Democratic areas where votes are still out? When you're down by 136,000 votes, with 89% reporting, when those votes come in, not only in Atlanta suburbs, I just want to check down here in Chatham County, they're only at 36%. So again, if you're in the Harris campaign, Abby and Jeff are exactly right. They are scrubbing the books now. They're looking at their data projections. They are calling people in the states. They are trying to find out what happened here. How many people turned out? We're getting 60% of the vote at 36% counting. How many more are they get? And are they all ours, or are we splitting these votes? That gets frantic in campaign headquarters at this point of the night when you're trying to figure out, is the math possible? I would say as you pull it out, yes, the math is possible, but you'd rather be Donald Trump right now in Georgia than the Vice President of the United States. So let's look at North Carolina, another of the Sun Belt states. 145,000 votes ahead. That's almost twice what Donald Trump won North Carolina by 4 years ago. 85% of the vote in. Same test. What's the outstanding vote? Again, smaller circle now in Mecklenburg. I'll go there in just a second to see. That was a little bit bigger earlier in the night. That's the largest county. Mecklenburg County is Charlotte and the suburbs around it. Out here, in the Raleigh-Durham area, still a lot of votes to be had. Fayetteville area, a lot of votes to be counted. But again, look at those little tiny dots, right? Not a lot out there, but all those little rural counties add up for Donald Trump. So let's just come out and check where we were talking about. Right here, Cumberland County, that's Fayetteville. Only 21%. So this is where, if you're the Harris campaign, when I was in those Georgia counties, they were at 75%, 80%, somewhere in that ballpark. That gets you nervous, that gets you jittery. Here, you're still jittery because you're losing, but you know there are a lot more votes out there. This is the second largest county in the state, Wake County. They're up to 82%, so you're starting to get a little nervous there. You're looking for places, that's 94%. You're looking for places that are your color, that's 95%, that are in the 60s, in the 70s, or the 30s, right? This county is not as much population, but at least there you have some hope. Let's look at Mecklenburg. They're at 90%. Now again, this is where the biggest numbers come in, so that 10% can matter, but it's the only big county you have left, and the other guy has 145,000 vote lead in a state he has won twice. So then we come up here and
Donald Trump with 211 electoral votes. If the Senator Kamala Harris cracks 100 now, has 145 electoral votes. 270 electoral votes are needed to win. Donald Trump is 59 electoral votes away from that. Let's look at these battleground states. Arizona, Donald Trump is a little bit. Donald Trump has a 2,356 vote lead with 51% of the estimated vote in from Arizona. Wisconsin, Donald Trump will lead there too, 49% of the vote. Kamala Harris is 48.4%. Donald Trump has a 28,576 vote lead with an estimated 59% of the estimated vote in from the Bachelor state. In the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, Donald Trump maintained his lead. He's at 50.7% of the vote. Kamala Harris with 48.2% of the vote. Donald Trump with a 119,411 vote lead with 68% of the estimated vote in from Pennsylvania. In Georgia, Donald Trump still in the lead there, 51% of the vote. Kamala Harris with 48.2% of the vote. Donald Trump with a 156,328 vote lead. That is with 88% of the estimated vote in from the state of Georgia. In North Carolina, another battleground where Donald Trump leads 80% of the vote. Kamala Harris has has 47.8% of the vote. Donald Trump has a 145,488 vote lead over Kamala Harris right now with an estimated 85% of the vote in from the target state. In Battleground, Michigan, Kamala Harris in the lead. She is 51.3% of the vote. 49%. Kamala Harris is 74,000 lead, 158 votes ahead of Donald Trump. But that's less than a third of the vote counted there. 30% of the estimated vote in from the state of Michigan. In the Commonwealth of Virginia, Kamala Harris in the lead there still, but not so. 15.1% of the vote. Donald Trump has 48% of the vote. Kamala Harris with a third 70% lead. That's 78% of the estimated vote in from the Commonwealth of Virginia. In New Mexico, Harris leads there too, 52.6% of the vote. Donald Trump with 45.5% of the vote. That is with an estimated 69% of the vote in. Harris with a roughly 43,000 vote lead. Let's go now to Adam Phillip, who is at Harris County headquarters in Washington, D.C.
Yeah, Jake, we actually just got a pretty significant update from the Harris campaign manager, General Valley Dillon, who sent out a memo to her staff tonight, laying out what they see ahead in the coming days and hours, and my colleague Jeff Zeleny is here with me. The memo essentially says, Jake, that the returns are coming in slowly. They still see their path, but that path is largely going to be through the blue wall, as Jeff and I were just discussing. The key point that General Valley Dillon is making is that this is a close race. This is the close race they have been expecting. She says to her staff, we are built for this. Let's finish the night out. We will see you tomorrow. They are not expecting this to be wrapped up tonight.
They're not, because the margins are so small. I was reading from that memo. So we have known all along our clearest path to 270 was with the blue wall states. And again, they point out the cities we were talking about, Milwaukee, Detroit, and of course Philadelphia. Now the central question hanging over all of this, and indeed the crowd here waiting behind us, is Vice President Harris going to address the crowd? That is a possibility. We will see in the coming days as we hear some of the we will see. But the bottom line is that this is a close race. This is going to be not resolved tonight.
Jeff, this is a critical moment, I think, for the Harris campaign to show where they get to 270. And Jake, it looks like they are not foreclosing really on anything in the map right now that is not called. They're still waiting for the polls to close in parts of the Sun Belt, for those results to come trickling in. But again, it's the blue wall again. It is Philadelphia, it's Pennsylvania, it is Wisconsin, and it is Michigan, where the best chances are for Harris to get to that 270 that she needs to become president of the United States.
All right, Jeff Zeleny, thank you so much. Let's go to John King at the Magic Wall. John, explain the theory of the case for the Harris campaign right now.
We heard Jeff and Abby emphasizing the youth campaign, that essentially they don't rule out any other possibilities about the road banking on the blue wall. Well, at the moment as we speak, 2 of the 3 blue wall states, that's Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, 2 of the 3 are red. We're not done. We're not done. But 2 of the 3 are red. Why is that significant? Well, let's look at the Sun Belt states. And again, Harris campaign is not ruling this out, but you show this here. Donald Trump 142,000 votes ahead in North Carolina. I can show you the live outstanding votes. And when I show you the live outstanding votes, you will see the pretty big circles in the blue areas, large metropolitan areas, and suburban areas, the Democrats are doing quite well. I just want to say that 85% reported statewide and 142,000 vote lead. Is it mathematically possible for enough votes out there? Yes. How will you get our county here, let's come up to 2024 and see what's left. 11% left, and large, very Democrat area, 81% there, just to the east of Atlanta. Let's just check 2020, 583. 81, 83, you might think, oh, that's not that big of a difference. In a race that's very close, yes, it can be a big difference. So we have to watch at the moment. Let's cut out, let's do it this way, go back to 2024. So let's just copy this and see where's Harris underperforming. Where is Harris underperforming Joe Biden? In a state Joe Biden won by 11,000 votes. You can't really underperform. But she's underperforming in 28, 159 counties, right? So we have more votes to be counted. We're not done yet. This is not a final glimpse. When you see out of these rural areas, this is part of the secret of Joe Biden's win in 2020. He got his butt kicked by Donald Trump in the small rural counties. They did better than Hillary Clinton. Blue-collar workers, rural workers, people who work with their hands, they want to do just a little bit better. And in a state decided about 1,000 votes, that can happen. So again, that's about math. We're not done. We're counting. The Harris campaign will update us and get their county on the ground estimate. People are vote estimate on the ground, those numbers are still outstanding. But if you look at this map right now, I want to switch. Well, let's just check real quickly where we are in Wisconsin. 61%. I want to check Milwaukee. Okay, only 53% of Milwaukee. In the uncounted vote, talk to the vice president to catch up. Talk to the Democrat on the voting percentage good. They can take it right.
The question is
also in the suburbs around it. That was 2020. There were a lot more early county votes and counted than there are now. But we shall see as we come out and take 42 billion. That's the big thing we want. One little quirky thing. Trump's leading in Northampton. Harris is leading in Gary. Those are the two swing counties head to head. So just watching that. Here's what I would say about that. I just want to bring this up and show the states for the Harris campaign right now. It's the county of North Carolina gets higher, it's Georgia gets higher. The importance, if Donald Trump, it's a hypothetical, if Donald Trump holds these two, and he won that one both times, 2016 and 2020. He won this in 2016, he lost by 11,000 votes in 2020. So not at all inconceivable in history, and when you look at the numbers tonight. If that happens, why does she not miss that? Because 251 plus 19 makes Donald Trump president of the United States. So the rest of them don't matter. I don't believe your votes don't matter in those other states. But in terms of the path to 270, if he holds the leads he has right now in those two states, they're healthy leads, she cannot afford to lose that. Cannot. And the moment, if you speak of that, please jump in if you want. I'm sure we'll go back to the national map for one to come.
Okay, I want to stick with Pennsylvania and bring in Kate Baldwin and the Vermont Center in investigating Philadelphia. Kate, what do you learn?
It's the only area where you're left to buy. We just learned John focusing in on the out-of-state mail-in ballots. That is something that we have all been waiting for. I have just learned we were close to the counting process that the next batch, the second batch of mail ballots that will be loaded and posted, scheduled to 11:55 p.m. That will be tens of thousands of ballots. They're still working through it, so narrowing that number down any further, not possible at this time, we'll continue working with it. But it will be tens of thousands of mail ballots that will be posted at 11:55 just before midnight, adding to what was the first batch, which ended up being 115,000 mail ballots, which is just narrowing the universe of what's outstanding, getting us closer and closer, because John has been talking about, we're once you get that 50% of the 50% of the vote in, then you can really start seeing where things are headed. And we're seeing Philadelphia, they're not yet at 50%, they're getting closer to it, and these mail-in ballots, when they're closer to the 35, we're getting quite a bit more there.
All right, thanks so much. Let's go to the other side. Brian Fonzo, from the center outside of Pittsburgh. Brian, what's the status of the vote there?
Jake, the bottom line is we're heading to the finish line very quickly here in Allegheny County. I'm with David Boyd, the election division's manager of the county. David, it's going to be counted pretty soon, on midnight. How much of the vote do you think will be in?
I believe we're roughly 98% now that we reported. I believe by midnight, I'm sorry, we're 89% reported. I believe by midnight we should be around 98.
And to clarify, just about all the mail-ins have been reported by.
All the mail-ins that we have will be counted in definitely this evening. The only thing that will not be are any military or overseas ballots, which may have an extra week to return their ballots, and they'll be scanned in later.
And an illustration is right behind us. The votes coming in. Explain to our viewers what these are and where they're going to be put.
So these yellow bags are the physical paper ballots that the voters have voted. They're put in these bags and sealed and locked. Seal numbers are traced for chain custody, and they will be locked up and kept here.
Just how smoothly has it gone? Because we've heard that it's gone.
Like Ohio, where Sherrod Brown was able to hang on, even though it has been basically a red state for quite some time. And sometimes the migration of this kind of party move in a state takes a little while, takes a couple cycles.
Surprised by this?
That Sherrod Brown, there were a lot of Democrats who thought like you thought, that the way you posited the question, that he's held on for a long time, he's running tough races, and that he had appealed to enough Republicans over the many years. But Marino was a great candidate for them. He hung in there, and what it goes to show also is this issue of energy security. It's going to be interesting to see how this continues to play out in Pennsylvania this evening. Ohio and Pennsylvania both, and even Montana, where energy is a big, big issue. These three Democrats may have run up against a challenge that they can't overcome.
This shows you a little bit of break in the blue wall. If Ohio's 10 points and Bernie Moreno takes off Sherrod Brown, don't you, as you're looking at Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania, say there are similar issues in these states?
That's what I'm saying. No, I don't, Brett, the answer is a resounding unfortunate for me, yes. I think you can begin to see that where that crack could come, if not a whole collapse.
Let me make one last point. $161 million spent on the Bernie Moreno race by the Senate Leadership Fund. McConnell's basically the pact to keep the Senate majority, $161 million.
And in part, that's because they understand if we have one more of these things flip, think about what that does to the Supreme Court and the decisions that will be made by some of the justices
and
there.
we're one seat away from the majority for the Republicans, and Republicans have been counting as if it were a done deal all along on Montana Senate, where there's very little vote in, which I think is the reason it's too early to call. Not too close to call, because at this hour, Bill, according to what you just showed me on that map over there, that wonderful map of yours, John Tester's the Democrat John Tester, the Democratic incumbent, is well behind with only 6% in.
Yeah,
but
it seems like
he's down.
Just keep going a little bit there, right?
Yeah, 14 points. But I mean, that's in line with what has been the expectation.
But listen, if you look at Ohio, it's the similar issues to Mike Rogers in Michigan, and there's similar issues in Pennsylvania for Dave McCormick. We're going to take a quick break right here. The race to 270 slowly taking shape. 270 is the electoral votes needed to win. The vote count changing by the minute. Check out that popular vote. Check out the popular vote. Our special coverage continues after this.
And I also want to note this, that the state will be required to report the outstanding early votes by midnight, so we should get a clearer picture soon there in this critical battleground Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Back to you.
All right, fascinating. And she was just talking about Bucks County. Walk us through Bucks County. This is where Harris had a couple of big events there, including that one with Liz Cheney, really making a play for Republican women, especially in Bucks County.
And for Haley voters. Nikki Haley got 155,000 votes in the Pennsylvania primary long after she was out of the race, so that was one piece of the competition. Two things to say about this. Number one, it's only half the vote. So if you just think we have about 200,000 more votes, right? This is 51%. It's 103 to 102. So you got roughly 200,000 votes still to come in. Bucks County is the most competitive of the caller counties. And she's at 50%, the vice president, if you round up. Again, President Biden was at 50.
will go to Kamala Harris, as expected. Oregon, with its 8 electoral votes, will go to the Democrat Kamala Harris. Let's take a look at the electoral map. Right now, Donald Trump has 211 electoral votes. Kamala Harris has 153 electoral votes. 270 are needed to win. Let's take a look at the key races now. Arizona, Donald Trump in the lead there, 49.6% of the vote. Kamala Harris right behind him with 49.5% of the vote. Donald Trump with a roughly 3,000 vote lead. That's with 51% of the estimated vote in from the state of Arizona. In Battleground, Wisconsin, Donald Trump maintaining his lead, 50.4% of the vote. Kamala Harris has 48% of the vote. Donald Trump with a more than 50,000 vote lead right now with 63% of the estimated vote in from the Badger State. In the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, Donald Trump maintaining his lead, 51% of the vote. Kamala Harris has 47.9% of the vote. Donald Trump with more than 165,000 more votes than Kamala Harris, with more than 3/4, 76% of the estimated vote in from the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. In Battleground, Georgia, Donald Trump in the lead, 50.9% of the vote. Kamala Harris has 48.3% of the vote. Donald Trump has a more than 131,000 vote lead over Kamala Harris. That's with 90% of the estimated vote in. So they got 10% to go there in Georgia, but Donald Trump in the lead. North Carolina, another battleground, Donald Trump still in the lead there with 50.7% of the vote. Kamala Harris with 47.9% of the vote. Donald Trump has a more than 138,000 vote lead over Kamala Harris with an estimated 87% of the vote in. In Battleground, Michigan, Kamala Harris is in the lead, 50.2% of the vote. Donald Trump has 48% of the vote. Harris has a more than 40,000 vote lead over Donald Trump with 1/3, 33% of the vote in there. John King.
So Jake, just going through some of these counties in Pennsylvania, again, Joe Biden won the state. Let's go back and show you it. 81,000 votes, right? His birth state. He's from Delaware now, but he was born in Pennsylvania. That was one of the things that helped him, was because he was, as he liked to call himself, the scrappy kid from Scranton. So where are we now in 2024? I was just looking at here. This is Lackawanna County. This is where Joe Biden was born. Scranton, Pennsylvania. You say, well, the vice president's winning it with 51%, but Donald Trump's at 48, right? So again, in a close battleground state, margins within some of these counties can matter. She's at 51. Joe Biden, 4 years ago, was at 54. That's a big deal. That's a big deal. You look at the margin there, you say, oh, that's only 9,000 votes, right? You know, if you're trying now, you're trying to make up this lead, right? That's 3,000 votes, a little less than that, a little more than that, maybe 3,000 votes. The reason it matters is you're trying to make up 173,000 votes, right? So when you're losing ground in each of these counties, it hurts. And so let's just come over here. This is Luzerne County. This is Trump country, Pennsylvania. Harris getting 42%, 43 if you want to round that up. Trump at 57. Again, 43 for the vice president, 42. So there she's competing, not so bad. There. So you're just looking for the pieces as you come through. Carbon County, 65 for Trump. 4 years ago, 72% for Trump. Now, that's white workers, blue-collar workers, high school educated workers. Want to check back in here. Lehigh County, vice president getting 52%. It's a little bit out here. Again, you're looking for population centers now. This is the 10th largest of the 67 counties. If you're the Harris campaign, you're looking at population centers trying to say what's left in the places where there are a lot of people. Modest amount of people in Lehigh Valley, but you see it right there. 52, this one to come back. Joe Biden's at 53. You see the pattern that continues, right? You know, I was saying, Trump has to improve his standing a point or two in the suburbs. She has to match Joe Biden in the...
down, counting out, smiling through the taste of blood in my own mouth. I got bruises and broken bones, but they don't know I ain't in this ring alone. I'm a fighter, no one can say that I'm a running hider. I was born to be a do-or-dyer, a make it rider. Don't throw that towel just yet, don't cash in that last bet, 'cause I hit harder when I'm tired. I'm a fighter. I get back up, that's what I do. I didn't soldier on this far just to lose. So take your shot, is that all you got? I'm a fighter, no one can say that I'm a running hider. I was born to be a do-or-dyer, a make it rider. Don't throw that towel just yet, don't cash in that last bet, 'cause I hit harder when I'm tired. Yeah, I'm a fighter. No one can keep me down. They didn't know, but they know now. That I'm a fighter. No one can say that I'm a running hider. Don't cash in that last bet, don't throw that towel just yet. I'm a fighter.
Just want to point out two things in Wisconsin, and I want to compare that to what's happening in Pennsylvania, because I think there's a trend that is favorable toward Trump, okay? So here we go, Dane County. I'm going to take you back to 2020. I'll just compare the numbers for Biden and Kamala Harris, okay? So this is Madison, University of Wisconsin, et cetera. Ton of Democratic votes in this county. So she is underperforming Biden's mark by about 1.7 points. And that translates to, it could be tens of thousands of votes. Trump, meanwhile, is up about 1.4 going back to 4 years ago. Let me come up here to La Crosse, all right? You get Democratic votes here in La Crosse, right along the border there with Minnesota. So this is Biden 4 years ago. It's not quite 2.5, but it's close to it, where she's underperforming.
Most of us were going out to the polls earlier too. The polls were steady in this poll. What I did see is a high amount of same-day registrations. That would seem to be a much more increase at all the polling sites, and not just one geographical area, whatever demographics, but it was all over that was accomplished. And I talked to each chief inspector, and that is the area that I saw a much increase in the participation, same-day registration.
Registration, we saw that also in Singapore today, a lot of people coming and registering and voting. Thank you both so much. We should just make it very clear, you heard it here from the Republican and the Democrat, who are election commissioners, that there was an agreement. This is going to be a free and fair election here in Milwaukee. People are watching every single bit of this and agreeing that things are going as smoothly as possible after that hiccup earlier today.
All right, Sarah, it's Ivan in Milwaukee. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Let's take a look at Milwaukee and Wisconsin at large. Donald Trump in the lead with 66% of the vote in the state in general. Tell me about the wow counties, if you could, or right around Milwaukee. Wow, let me get you in a second. I just put a picture of number one. We learned about Senator Johnson this year, right? Press releases before you go to the tax law. Sorry, that was true.
especially about voter integrity. That's how it's before. Democrat Republicans say side by side, Democrats and Republicans are like, ooh, they're fine, they're doing what they're supposed to do, they had a human error, we're all doing it, and they're fixing it. Right? That's how it works. Sometimes it means wait a little while, but if people in the room, eyeballs, both parties, eyeballs, and everything's fine. But the point Mr. Haig made at the end is instructive to me in the sense that you come to here, you're down, the vice president, you're losing by just shy of 60,000 votes. This is the #1 county. It is 17%, 16, 17% of the state population. You're getting 66%, so you say, okay, there's still 40% of the vote to come in. But Mr. Haig just made a point, he said you can turn out straight. Let's see what these final numbers are. If you look at that number right there, look at 176,000, right? When Joe Biden carried Wisconsin 4 years ago, he said 317,000, and it's 69% of the vote, right? So 317,000 and 69% of the vote. He's at 66% of the vote, and the raw math, right? You need the higher percentage, but you need that raw math to overcome what is happening in all of this red. Right? Especially, one more check on the wow. Dade County is 95% in. Right? This is Madison, University of Wisconsin. Young voters, college area, tends to be more liberal. 74% for her, 242,000. Again. Biden's numbers higher, and the math is higher. That's what happens in Valley. That's how you win or lose delegates. Get out the vote, and get out the vote, and right left. And so in a place, state won by 20,000 votes. Southern, I think, just right there. So let's go to the Wow. You don't go to Waukesha County. It was just here recently, right? This is a place the Harris campaign was hoping, hey, women, you don't have to tell your husband who you're going to vote for. If you believe in reproductive freedom in a conservative county, you don't vote Harris, just don't tell your husband. This is one of the places they thought about decision reproductive freedom, abortion rights would help them defend the war. Well, they're 91%, we'll see, but 40% is your number. If you round that up, we'll go back in time. It's a tiny bit, but it's not a significant jump where the president was 4 years ago. Trump said 60% if you round up then. He said 59. So a little bit, maybe a tiny increase there for her. So you're moving around up here. You go up to Washington County. This is a big 70% of the vote here. Just trying to double check it, come back. You improve it up a little bit. You improve it a little bit. And then you come over here to the I did a while back. Which vote goes on to the former president, 55% of the vote in 2020. I think he's at 56, roughly the same. But a little bit, so Trump is not underperforming. It's maybe in the market, but when you see that, we're all behind where President Biden was, and now you're waiting for this. There are some other small things, just to take a look and see what else is out there. But as you can see, the biggest thing is here, and some of these votes out here, through the Trump campaign, we're talking about can she come back? And through the Trump campaign, we're also saying we're pushing. Is there more coming in for us? And the answer is yes. The answer is yes when you look up there. So the next thing we learned from Milwaukee is how many votes, what is her percentage, how does it affect the statewide map, and how much is left. How much is left? In your biggest area, you have to turn it up. Because then again, I just want to come up here and look at this. Again, Brown County, this is Green Bay. We call it workers. Trump's getting 61, Vice President's getting 37, 38 if you want to round that up. That matters. Oh my God, he almost shot almost 10 points on value multiplier. In a battleground state, he's up and she's down. In a place where in the Harris campaign, the Biden campaign, you're not going to win here. You're not going to win here. But if you make it that race, if you make it that close, instead of that close, you get a better result. Period. Simple math.
Let's go on to the third of the Wall States, Michigan. Jim Sciutto is a vote counting senator in Detroit. And Jim, you have an update on the vote in Wayne County. Tell us.
Well, let me tell you, we've been in touch with the Secretary of State's office really in a few minutes here, trying to figure out when we're going to get another batch of Detroit or surrounding Wayne County votes. And we're told very soon. They won't put a figure on very soon, but very soon. We know they're working hard, calculating those numbers, counting those votes, and they're not countering any issues, machines, etc. This is just a process of getting the work done. We've also been in touch with Macomb County, where we were outside of Detroit earlier today. They're also expecting, they say, another batch of votes to be reported quite soon. Here where we are in Detroit, this is the location where they've been counting the absentee ballots. Just in the last hour, another 2,500 or so absentee ballots came in. That brings us pretty much to the end of the 100,000 that they expected. And at some point in the next hour, we'll see another U-Haul truck come in with the remaining absentee ballots that they collected from drop boxes around the city here. And they've been counting as they've been going. Remember, they started counting last Monday. We didn't have to wait until election day. So those numbers will be done soon. I will say the Secretary of State told me earlier this evening that she's moving up her expectation that by midday tomorrow, we can report final unofficial results saying she believes they might be able to do that tonight, perhaps after midnight in the next couple of hours. But of course, they'll have to get those Wayne County numbers done first. I should note, the Secretary of State just walked in here to monitor the county getting absentee ballots as we've been doing in precincts around the state.
All right, Jim Shudo, thank you so much. Jim Shudo in Detroit. I mean, John, it's 2024. They only have 16% reported in Wayne County and all of Detroit.
One of the things is the full lack of consistency.
Death taxes, Wayne County.
Wayne County, Gary, Indiana, yeah, they're consistent. This is my 10th presidential election, and you know, 10th time you've been counting late in the 90s. It's the way it is. But you know, you see the Secretary of State's there, Jim is there. Again, that's nothing to variance. It's just inefficiency. To your point about we're living in technological age. And Jim just said, they changed the law in Michigan so you can count some of the early votes, beforehand, and then release them after the polls close. So it adds to the why. But right now let's focus on the what. There's an 86,000 vote, almost 87,000 vote lead for the former president. Again, in one of the states he put in. Right. Yes, he's leading all three.
Oh, wait, yeah, that changed on the top. She was ahead, and now she's no longer ahead. Now Donald Trump is in the lead. Right now, not all votes are counted. Right now, he's leading in all three blue wall states.
Plus North Carolina, plus Georgia, plus Arizona, plus Nevada. We're not done with the count. We're not done with the count.
But this is right now the winner of 2016.
That is enough for 2016, and that is the fire on fire inside the Harris campaign to deal on the phone. Again, we're not done, and we lived through 2020. I want to say it again, slowly and clearly. 2020, this time of night, there were states that changed, and they were largely, Pennsylvania changed, Trump ahead, in Georgia, things have changed. There's not as many meltdowns out there as in 2020. So I would not expect a dramatic swing. The question then becomes, state by state, county by county, is the map there? And I'm making these, trying to be fair and trying to be as possible as possible. When you're leading in all of them, and you try, that's what you're saying. So maybe they're not going to win it. Maybe they're not going to win it. But they're leading right now. So let's just look at what happened here. They come on in. It's the small group now. They fill it. And they fill it again. It's the fill it. Say, oh, that's not a lot of votes. Well, that's a lot of votes when you have it there. And then you have it here. And then you have it again here. Get 500, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, and all these little counties. 120 votes there. That's only 5% reporting. You say, well, that's not much. It's a lot. When you take going to the state, and you have all these counties, and then the question is, so where the Democrat party, right? You've got 83 counties in the state of Michigan. So 56%, about halfway through Kent County, is the Grand Rapids suburb, and she's running a little bit ahead of the president there. But Jake, the big question in Michigan is, when do those Wayne County votes come in, and what do they do with the statewide president?
All right, John, CNN has a major projection. CNN projects that Donald Trump will win the state of North Carolina. This is the first of 7 battleground states that the people and I on, and we are calling it for Donald Trump. What does that mean for the electoral count? Donald Trump now has 227 electoral votes. Kamala Harris has 153. 207 are needed to win. Let's go to Trump HQ in West Palm Beach, Florida, where we find Caitlin Collins. And Caitlin, CNN is now calling North Carolina for Donald Trump. This is the first of 7 battleground states that the campaign is watching with eagle eyes.
Yeah, Jake, remember what I told you a few hours ago that it was going to be seen as a gut check for the Trump campaign? Listen here, it's a bit of a delay, but your call is playing right now over the loudspeakers in the room, Jake. You can hear the party here, the partygoers gathered at the convention center here in West Palm Beach cheering as your call is coming on the screen. They have been glued to CNN for the last several moments watching John King at the map going over each of these numbers. But North Carolina is an important benchmark for the Trump campaign because they were watching it to get a gut check on how they believe the rest of the evening could go. And I can tell you that what I'm hearing from Trump campaign sources is they are increasingly confident as the night is going on, still not certain, of course, of watching those very important blue wall states and to see what they look like. And so that is going to be a big question here as they continue to keep an eye on Pennsylvania, on Michigan, on Wisconsin as this is moving forward. Jake, I will tell you that we're seeing more people from the Mar-a-Lago party coming over here to the Trump headquarters where this party is going to be held. But also, some Republicans are flying into Palm Beach. We just heard from House Speaker Mike Johnson, who was watching the results come in with his constituents back in Shreveport. He is now headed here tonight because he was predicting a bigger Republican margin in the House, Republican takeover of the Senate, and he says he believes a Republican is going to win the White House. Therefore, Donald Trump, Jake, obviously still waiting to see, but a noticeable shift here in the mood at the Trump headquarters.
All right, David Collins in West Palm Beach at Trump HQ, thank you so much. So, the first of the 7 battleground states to fall soon and projected North Carolina.
This was the most probable pickup for Kamala Harris if that was the goal to win. That is why Trump went down there multiple times in the last 24, 48 hours of the campaign. And it clearly did not happen for Kamala Harris. And Trump, he was telling his people, I told him, just like we're people, that this is something that portends well for the future. We don't know what it means for the other states, but what we do know is it's even more evidence that that blue wall is the path for Kamala Harris.
And that path is just more and more narrow. I think we're seeing as the night goes on. But also, so many people thought that perhaps this would be an election that in 10 or 12 closer to the midterms, a big conversation about abortion. That is not where it's going. It seems like we're seeing that male turnout is starting to produce what we can't do.
You know, I think a lot of us came into tonight wondering, was it going to feel more like 2016 or 2020? And 4 years ago I was at Fox, and at almost exactly this moment, 11:20 p.m., we made a very controversial campaign around Arizona. And that changed the whole campaign was so furious about that call because it was the first step and the first indication that maybe it wasn't going to be 2016. Right now, and look, voting you have to states to be called, right?
And it is interesting, and yeah, I mean, the fact that we're calling it at this point is also significant because I don't think North Carolina was called last time, 4 years ago, until maybe a week after the election, or certainly after Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania came on Saturday. I think North Carolina was Sunday, Monday. Back here making this call.
Underperforming what Joe Biden did in 2020, and that ends up what was a narrow edge for Biden. Is at this point, we have to condition it, a narrow defeat for Harris.
And the thing about North Carolina, and John has been talking about this, and we'll do more at the wall, is you do have kind of a sense of the country in the state of North Carolina, in that there are growing minority populations, and there is a growing sort of suburban, maybe more moderate population in and around the big cities. And so that is why the Harris campaign thought, with the dynamics of the country right now, that she would have a better shot. But look, the headwinds of the economy, the inflation that people are feeling, the difficulty in their everyday lives.
Yeah, she could not outrun that Biden economy.
Yeah, and the economy, Chris, that is what people are feeling every single day. I mean, we were talking earlier about whether or not the sort of women and the idea of this being the first post-Roe presidential campaign was going to supersede how people felt when they were buying eggs and milk. And certainly North Carolina and other places that we are seeing start to formulate in these other states, the answer is no.
You know, we have talked about it all night. We've disagreed to a certain degree about the right track, wrong track, and in this 27% right track, 60-something% wrong track. You know, maybe part of that is dissatisfaction with Trump. Maybe some of that is dissatisfaction with the abortion overturn. But in terms of what people live every day, it's the economy, it's the price of eggs, it's the fear of inflation, which with the spread of illegal immigrants north is now being felt as an issue, not just on the border, but in northern states as well.
Yeah, and Jake, I'm going to be interested to figure out and to find out once we get all the details how much success the Trump campaign had in increasing their share of the mail vote. They worked really hard at that.
Yeah, very interesting. Let's bring you a key race alert and get you up to speed on where we are in all the states that we have not called. In Battleground, Pennsylvania, Donald Trump with 51.3%, Kamala Harris 47.6%. Donald Trump more than 212,000 votes ahead with 82% of the estimated vote in from the great Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. In Battleground, Michigan, Donald Trump in the lead, 51.2%, Kamala Harris at 47%, Donald Trump at 98,014 votes ahead of Kamala Harris with 41% of the estimated vote in from Michigan. In Battleground, Wisconsin, Donald Trump in the lead, 50.7%. To Harris's 47.7%. Donald Trump with a 68,000 plus vote lead over Harris with 71% of the estimated vote in from the Badger State. In Battleground, Georgia, Donald Trump up 50.8% to Harris's 48.3%. Donald Trump with 128,582 more votes than Kamala Harris, with 92% of the estimated vote counted in the state of Georgia. In the state of Arizona, another battleground, Donald Trump in the lead there, 49.8% to Harris's 49.3%. Donald Trump with a 7,588 vote lead over Kamala Harris. That's with more than half, 52% of the estimated vote in. In Nevada, Donald Trump in the lead, 73%. Kamala Harris with 26.2%. Donald Trump with a 10,985 vote lead over Harris. That's with only 2% of the vote in from from Nevada, only 2%. Boris Sanchez now has some new projections in the fight for control of the U.S. Senate.
Jake, a major moment for Republicans. They have just flipped. They are expected to flip their second Democratic seat of the night. This one coming in Ohio. There, Republican Bernie Moreno defeating incumbent Democrat Sherrod Brown. Moreno, the owner of some luxury car dealerships, who invested early in blockchain technology, fought to attach Brown to the Biden administration more broadly, specifically on issues like immigration. Sherrod Brown, a populist who had survived some difficult tests in this state before, cannot overcome the political headwinds he is facing. Donald Trump has now won Ohio 3 elections in a row, and it's simply too much for the incumbent Democrat to overcome. So we are projecting that Bernie Moreno is your new junior senator from the Buckeye State. Meantime, 4 Democratic polls. The first one, a historic one in New Jersey. There, Congressman Andy Kim is set to become the first Korean American ever to serve in the U.S. Senate. He defeats real estate tycoon Curtis Bashaw. Meantime, in Virginia, there, incumbent Democratic Senator Tim Kaine, a former vice presidential candidate, he's projected to defeat Hung Kao, a former Navy captain. Another Democratic poll to tell you about this one, Martin Heinrich, the incumbent senator there, seeking his 3rd term. He defeats Nella Dominici, whose father was the last Republican senator elected in New Mexico some 20 years ago. Another Democratic poll to project for you, this one coming in the state of Washington. There, Democratic incumbent Senator Maria Cantwell wins her 5th term as she defeats Raul Garcia, an ER doctor. Now, what does that pickup in Ohio mean for the magic number? We started out the night with Republicans needing to pick up 2 Democratic seats to take control of the chamber. With West Virginia and Ohio, they have hit 2, and now they're seeking to pad those numbers. Currently, as we speak, Republicans are leading in 4 seats currently held by Democrats. Let's get you an update on where those are right now with some key race alerts. These are live results coming into CNN. We start with the state of Wisconsin. There, the CEO of California-based SunWest Bank, Eric Hovde, is 29,000 votes ahead of Democratic incumbent Senator Tammy Baldwin, who's seeking her 3rd term in office, 70% of the vote in. We just got an update. The lead pretty much the same in Wisconsin for Hovde. In Pennsylvania, this has been going back and forth all night, but right now, The former CEO of one of the largest hedge funds in the world, Dave McCormick, currently leads incumbent Democratic Senator Bob Casey by about 120,000 votes. Still a very close race. This one also a very expensive one. 81% of the vote in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Now, a key race alert from the state of Michigan. This one has been close all night as well. Former Republican Congressman Mike Rogers currently leading current Democratic Congresswoman Alyssa Slotkin, 48,000 votes. Rogers ahead of Slotkin, 40% of the vote in the Wolverine state. So let's take a look at the balance of power in the U.S. Senate, the raw numbers. What does this mean? Democrats hold 40 seats. Republicans, with those two pickups, hold 49, 11 seats remaining to be determined. Jake, obviously you need 51 for control of the chamber.
All right, Boris, thanks so much. And CNN can make a projection. CNN projects that Washington State, as expected, will go to Kamala Harris. Washington State, with its 12 electoral votes, to the Democrat, Vice President Kamala Harris. Let's look at the electoral map right now. Donald Trump has 227 electoral votes. Kamala Harris has 165 electoral votes. 270 are needed to win. We are waiting for more votes in the big three blue wall battlegrounds of Pennsylvania and Michigan and Wisconsin that both campaigns are watching very closely right now. A total of 6 top battlegrounds remain undecided as we get later into this election night. Stay right here for the next big rollout of votes. Right now, we're going to squeeze in a quick break. Stay with us.
Election night in America.
What does that mean for the electoral map? Donald Trump has 230 electoral votes. He is 40 electoral votes away from winning. Kamala Harris has 165 electoral votes. She is 105 electoral votes away from winning. Let's see what the states we have not called, where their vote counts are. Pennsylvania. Donald Trump is in the lead there with 51.2% of the vote. Kamala Harris has 47.7% of the vote. Donald Trump is ahead of her by more than 206,000 votes. That's with 83% of the estimated vote in. That's Pennsylvania. Battleground Michigan, Donald Trump up 51.3% of the vote. Kamala Harris has 46.9% of the vote. Donald Trump with a more than 111,000 vote lead with an estimated 44% of the vote in from Michigan. Wisconsin now, Donald Trump in the lead there too. 50.8% of the vote. Kamala Harris is 47.6% of the vote. Donald Trump almost 80,000 votes ahead of her with 3/4 of the vote, 74% of the estimated vote from the Badger State in. Battleground Georgia, Donald Trump is up 50.7%. Kamala Harris is 48.4%. Donald Trump more than 118,000 votes ahead of her with an estimated 93% of the estimated vote in. Arizona, Donald Trump ahead there too with 49.8% of the vote. Kamala Harris has 49.3% of the vote. He is more than 7,500 votes ahead of her right now, but they still have about 48% of the vote to count, 52% of the estimated vote in. In Nevada, Donald Trump is in the lead with 73% of the vote. Kamala Harris has 26.2% of the vote. Donald Trump has a more than 10,000 vote, almost 11,000 vote lead. That is with only 2% of the estimated vote in. As we follow these crucial undecided races, we are already also getting closer to another poll closing. 4 more electoral votes are at stake in the next hour in the heat of the battle to reach 270. So every electoral vote counts. We're just minutes away from voting ending in the reliably blue state of Hawaii. Over to John King now at the Magic Wall. John.
So Jake, a quick look. You just went through the numbers. Just want to look very quickly. These 3 states, Wisconsin, Michigan, in Pennsylvania will determine the fate of the Harris campaign, whether there's any chance that she can come back. As we wait to see those results, I just want to show you something, bring it up. Remember January 6th, Donald Trump was finished. Even Republicans were running away from Donald Trump. Donald Trump is done as a national politician. I want to show you something. This is Trump overperforming his 2020 performance by 3% or more, right? This is a statewide vote. We're not done with some of these counts out here, so this will change a little bit. But Donald Trump overperforming 2020 after January 6, 2021. That's the statewide vote. Look at this. Just look at this when you go to full counts. Look at how many counties across America, 994 of the 4,000 plus, 4,600 plus counties and townships, especially up this way, part of the country, they don't call them counties, they call them townships, but in nearly 1,000, 993 right now. This will change as we go through, but Donald Trump.
Has 169 electoral votes. She is 101 votes away from the 270 needed to win. John King.
So Jake, let's look at the map where we are right now, and then we'll go through some of these battleground states where we're still waiting. But just look at the map right now. You see a lot of red, right? So let's look at the 2020 map. You see the blue, right? The blue wall state, Oregon, Arizona, Nevada.
That we have not projected yet. Pennsylvania, Donald Trump in the lead, 51.3% of the vote. Kamala Harris, 47.6% of the vote. Donald Trump has a more than 213,000 vote lead over her, with 84% of the estimated vote in from Pennsylvania. In Battleground, Michigan, Donald Trump up there, 51.2% of the vote. Kamala Harris is 47% of the vote. Donald Trump with a 107,290 vote lead over Harris, but there's still about 55% of the vote that has not been counted in Michigan. A lot of votes to count in Michigan. Wisconsin now, Donald Trump 51% of the vote, Kamala Harris 47.4%. Donald Trump with a more than 92,000 vote lead over Harris. That's with more than 3/4 of the votes counted in Wisconsin, 77% of the vote. In Battleground, Georgia, Donald Trump up 50.7% to Harris's 48.4%. Donald Trump with a 118,838 vote lead over Harris, with 93% of the estimated vote in. In Battleground, Arizona, Donald Trump up 49.8% to Harris's 49.3%. Donald Trump with a 9,600 plus vote lead. That's with slightly more than half of the vote counted in Arizona, 52%. In Nevada, Donald Trump up 73% to Harris's 26.2% of the vote. Donald Trump with an almost 11,000 vote lead. So that is, again, 42% of the estimated vote in Nevada counted. Still a lot of votes to count in Nevada. John? Jacob?
PPA, no info for the DEA. Federal agents mad cause I flagrant tap myself and the phone in the basement. My team supreme, stay clean. Triple B, lyrical dream. I'll be that. Catch your seat at all events, bet. That's in holsters, girls on shoulders. Playboy, I told ya, me and Mike's to me, lose too much. I lose too much. Step on stage, girls move too much. I can expect another lane.